Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing custom Dinosaur King cards. And well, yeah, let's jump into it. But first, let's start with a quick history lesson on this video. First, I gotta say, I had this idea quite a while ago, and it was going to be a pretty big project, so I kind of postponed it a lot. So, honestly, I kind of just forgot about it for quite a while, until I saw another channel do custom Dinosaur King dinosaurs, and I was like, hey, I should probably go do that. And I started on it. I was like, oh, I hope they didn't do any of the same species I was planning on doing. Well then, they did quite a few of the species, but anyways, I will link those videos in the description, and honestly, I recommend watching them. They are very nice, and have their very nice own style to them. But anyways, let's jump into these. So first, we have our first species, which would be a water type, and it is Amargasaurus. And here's its full body design, which I gave it a nice blue coloration, and it would, well, just be a water type personally. Honestly, I could make it an electric type, but, well, honestly, first thing, it just doesn't work out with the elements, since sauropods are supposed to be water types. But also, if anything, Amargasaurus should have been an electric type, especially with its coloration, and since it's not, Hadrosaurus fits perfectly in with the water types. Next, we have our grass type card, which is Balia. And here's the full body design, which I think came out really nice. I personally really do like this one, and honestly, this was an unexpected one. And well, yeah, honestly, we already have two really large hadrosaurs in Dinosaur King, as in Shinwhac and Anatotitan, which is now Mosasaurus annectus. Honestly, Balia would fit in nicely. Next, we have our first wind type, which is Concavenator. All I have to say about Concavenator is I kind of hate its design. Well, I don't quite hate it, it's fine, but it's probably my least favorite design I made. Next, we have our first electric type, Ceratops. I honestly am very surprised this wasn't in Dinosaur King already. But, yeah. I gave it a nice red, blue, and yellow kind of coloration, and I think it'd fit nice in with the other electric types. Next, we have another water type, which is Ichthyosaurus. Anyways, here's the full body design, which I gave it a nice green coloration, for it doesn't really clash with any of the other Spinosaurids, since we already have Irritator, Suchomimus, which I just now thought about is already green. Then we also have Baryonyx, and Spinosaurus, I think I already mentioned that, but yeah. Honestly, it would clash a bit with Suchomimus, but I still think it's different enough that it can be its own thing. Next, we have another electric type, which, spoiler alert, there are quite a few electric types in here. Here is Nudaceratops. Here's its full body design. I gave it a nice green, like kind of neon green coloration on its lower jaw and stomach, and a little bit of a yellowy green on its frill. It's a pretty simple design. It looks really nice. I do wish I would have added some quills on maybe the back a little bit, but besides that, it looks really good. Next, we move on to our first fire type of the video, and it's Ceratops. Here's the full design for Ceratops, and it looks really nice. Honestly, this is based on the repaint that I did, but anyways, I'll link that video in the description as well. But anyways, we move on to another electric type, which is Xenoceratops, which I'm really surprised was not in Dinosaur King. But personally, I just find this to be a better version of Nudaceratops, because it looks much better in my opinion. Next, we have another electric type, which is, well, Cyclops. Which, if you can guess what this is based off of, a video may be coming for this figure very soon. But anyways, since it's really literally just based off that figure, like heavily based off it for at least the colorations, yeah, it looks good. Next, we move on to our next electric type, which is Xenoceratops. Which I think this is our last electric type, and honestly, I decided to give it a much darker coloration compared to other ceratopsians. Next, we have another fire type, which is Utyrannus. Utyrannus would have a nice kind of wintry coloration, and honestly, to be fair, this is kind of like every other Utyrannus design when it comes to the colorations. But yeah, very nice. It honestly could be a secret type, and honestly, there's no reason why it couldn't be a secret type. But personally, I think it'd be really cool if it was a fire type and its feathers would glow kind of like a phoenix. Next, we move on to, I think, our last grass type, which is Hadrosaurus. Hadrosaurus' design looks really nice, and honestly, Hadrosaurus is underrepresented in media, especially since it's like one of the first Hadrosaurs named in the namesake of the group it's in. I honestly would expect it to see this much more in media, but honestly, I think I gave it a pretty good design. Next, we move on to a wind type, which is Mape Megathorax, or Mape for short. Honestly, this is heavily based on the amazing Dino World Mape, and that is like one of my favorite things ever, so that's why I based it off that, but I think it fits nicely into Dinosaur King. Now we move on to our one and only secret type, which is Dinosaurus. Dinosaurus, I honestly didn't know exactly what I was going to do for it, but I decided to make it a mainly gray animal, and honestly, instead of having most of the feathers be bright colors, I decided to give it the actual skin to be bright colors, kind of like a cassowary. And well, the only feathers that are bright are the ones on the end of its tail and on its arm, but otherwise, it's mainly gray with nice pops of blue everywhere. Dinosaurus would have 3 extremely powerful move cards. Well, not move cards, but moves built into it. First one of this being Time Warp, where it would run around your opponent extremely fast, and well, you would see flashes of past depiction of Dinosaurus, starting with just showing off its fossilized arms, going to its kind of weird, long Gallimimus kind of interpretations, to its Therizina sword kind of interpretation, finally ending with the modern interpretation of Dinosaurus bursting out and clawing at your opponent. Next move we have is, well, Bone Bash, which Bone Bash is a very interesting move, where it would, well, probably just do a small dance, shaking its feathers. A beam would come out and, well, turn your opponent into bones, and then the Dinosaurus would run into your opponent, breaking the bones apart, being a very effective move. Along with the last move, probably one of its most powerful moves, Time Warp, which Time Warp would be very interesting, where it actually can warp the surroundings around it and literally have the species from a certain time period fight alongside it. Well, it's kind of similar to, at least in Season 1 of Dinosaur King, how the other dinosaurs at the end of Cretaceous were fighting Terry. And honestly, there would be several locations, probably a few of them being, like, the late Cretaceous, of course, near the extinction. And we'd also have another interesting one, probably Jurassic China, like we see in the anime. And then the last one, which I think is a kind of twist on things, would be Oligocene Africa, where you can actually have Dinotherium fight alongside you. Honestly, this one is a bit of a stretch, but I do think it could be a fun move. Literally changing the surroundings for the rest of the battle. Unless it uses the move again, time warping you either back to the normal arena you started off in, or to a new time period. And, yeah, that's about it. Last thing I do want to mention about Dinosaurus before we move on is that, well, Dinosaurus is the creature of time, which if you look at each secret type, they each have kind of their own kind of theming. For example, Papasaurus is the dinosaur of love, Eoraptor is the dinosaur of transformation, Brontokins I'd probably say is the dinosaur of destruction, Cryolophosaurus is themed around ice, and then it's kind of a stretch with the main 4 in the original anime, but like Megalosaurus, Telekinesis, let's see, Dinodocus, I guess you could probably say is teamwork, Pachycephalosaurus, probably say is light, and then, well, I'd probably say for Therizinosaurus, just sharpness. I really don't know what else to say for that, but they all kind of have their own theming, so Dinosaurus' theming would heavily be based on time, and Bone Bash is a kind of, well, not very well fit in move, but it's the best I could do. Where it could probably warp its opponent into a time where it would be boned. So that's the best I could come up with. It is very similar to another move we will be talking about very soon, but I think they are just different enough that they can still work. And Dinosaur King does have many moves that are very similar, that kind of do the same thing and are literally just kind of reskins of each other. For example, literally Tapujara Dive, Tupujara Dive, and Unhunguera Dive are literally just the same move with a different pterosaur. Now we move on to our first move card, and I'll actually have to explain how the move card works, and that is, well, Harboro Grab. Which is a move using a Harborotoothless, which would probably just, well, a water pool would appear under your opponent, and, well, it would come and pretty much squeeze your opponent and kind of try to drown them and probably throw them out afterwards. It'd be a pretty powerful move, but it would be a very nice addition to the water types. Now we have an Earth type move, and this is kind of unique upon the Earth type move because this is our first Earth type move that actually summons a dinosaur, which is, well, Fossilized. Which is a move where a Pliosaurus honestly makes a big mud pool come from below them, where your opponent would sink in, and kind of like Sand Trap, instead of your opponent getting launched out, a rock with a fossil of your opponent would launch out, and it would kind of be similar to Dino Stuffer as well, where it immobilize your opponent as well. Now we have a normal type move, which this is, well, Glacial Frost. Which is with a Glacialosaurus. Well, this one I honestly was going to make a secret type, but then I really realized it would kind of take away from Cryolophosaurus just because it's another ice-based secret type. So I decided to just make it a move card, where it would run around your opponent, freezing them, and, well, kind of also immobilize them, but also do quite a bit of damage. Now we have another water type move, which is, well, Pliosaurus Slam. Which I honestly would be very similar to Skydive, except a Pliosaur would come and grab your opponent by the tail, drowning them under the water, and probably slamming them around across a few rocks before launching them back out. Which I really do like this guy's design. Next we have another normal type move, which is Double Shinwhac. Where two Stegaroses come out to your opponent and, well, hit them in the shins, kind of like triple headbutt. Next we have another water type move, which is, well, your Rhino Pierce. Which is where 3 Utyrannus jump out of the water and, well, just spike your opponent and then probably jump back into the water. This would be kind of like Triple Rush, which is actually kind of a fusion move between Dromio Rush, Galley Rush, and Struthio Rush and Dinosaur King, where they all come out and attack you, but also be kind of similar to one of the abilities of your Rhinosaurus and Path of Titans, kind of sticking into your whatever creature you really want to. But anyways, those are all my custom Dinosaur King designs, and if you guys like this one, I'll do a part 2, and if you don't like it, too bad, because I will still be doing a part 2, because there were a lot of designs I really wanted to put in here, but realized I couldn't postpone this video any longer, so I should probably just wrap it up. But another thing I'd like to mention, if you like any of these designs, they will be at my merch shop. I will link it in the description, and, well, if you don't see a design, one of the designs you liked in the video and it's not on the Teespring shop yet, just give me a day or two. I will probably put it up there at some point, because I am trying to get all these designs up there. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.